Lesson 365 in A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Willie from the Ozarks, and we're reading from the original edition on our Workbook for Students. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you. Certain that your direction gives me peace. Certain that your direction gives me peace. If I need a word to help me, He will give it to me. If I need a thought, that will He also give. And if I need but stillness and a tranquil open mind, these are the gifts I will receive of Him. And He is in charge by my request, and He will hear and answer me, because He speaks for God my Father and His Holy Son and His Holy Son. Our last lesson, for the ones of you that have been with me for 2 years now, it's been nice. We've learned a lot, haven't we? I wanted to point out that some of you, after you've gone through it took 2 years to get through it this time. Next year we'll go through it in 1 year. Text, Manual for Teachers, and Workbook for Students. And maybe even a couple other supplemental readings from Foundation for Inner Peace's version, which is what we've been reading, and we're going to read out of it today, which is Song of Prayer, the last section in Song of Prayer. You may find, like myself, that 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years is just not enough. It's like each time I go through it, it's like I take a little step further in my awakening process. And I would encourage you to consider that also. I feel like A Course in Miracles is the best that I've found, and I've studied a lot of different manuscripts of the world in awakening and in devotion to God and in devotion to truth, in being at peace. And I find that for what I consider to be the Western mind, A Course in Miracles speaks the right language and helps me the most of all the things. I mean, I appreciate things like the Tao Te Ching, the Bhagavad Gita, and so many other sacred books. But this one here, based on biblical terminologies and understandings, I find to be the most helpful. If you don't choose to go any further, come join me anytime you'd like. If you've completed the book, just tune in. Our lessons as of tomorrow will be how am I going to say it? If you type it in, you'll put in write out A Course in Miracles and write out the word lesson, one of 365 with Willie 1-1-23. I said 22 yesterday. Okay. So I'll put it in the description below so that you can tell your friends if you know anyone that you think might like to follow along and it might help them. And if it'll help you, sure love to have you back. And remember, the second time through it, or after you've been through the workbook, you're basically, according to the Course in Miracles, you're now a teacher. Of course, we're all teachers and students all the time, but you'll be a teacher. Now, you may not be an advanced teacher of God. We may not be able to see you then. Okay, Our final lessons. This holy instant would I give to you, be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. And if I need a word to help me, he will give it to me. If I need a thought, that will he also give. And if I need but stillness and a tranquil, open mind, these are the gifts I will receive of him. He is in charge by my request, and he will hear and answer me, because he speaks for God my Father and his Holy Son. Okay, let's go take a look now in the Foundation for Inner Peace's supplement, which is an extension of the Principles of A Course in Miracles. The Song of Prayer. We're in Chapter 3, Healing, Section 4, The Holiness of Healing. How holy are the healed, for in their sight their brothers share their healing and their love. Bringers of peace, the Holy Spirit's voice, through whom he speaks for God, whose voice he is, such are God's healers. They but speak for him and never for themselves. They have no gifts but those they have from God. And these they share because they know that this is what he wills. They are not special. They are holy. They have chosen holiness and given up all separate dreams of special attributes through which they can bestow unequal gifts on those less fortunate. Their healing has restored their wholeness, so they can forgive and join the song of prayer in which the healed sing of their union and their thanks to God. Paragraph 2. Before I go on to paragraph 2, something I did want to mention before I started reading this is that this is the, as I said, this was published by Foundation for Inner Peace, and I'm so thankful for both publishers, for the original edition, which is the A Course in Miracles Society, located at jcim.net online, and Foundation for Inner Peace, located at acim.org online. And I'm so thankful for both publishers. I'm going to drop the word OE next year because we're not, and I'd abbreviated ACIM. There's a lot of people that don't even know what ACIM means. I'm just going to spell it out. You may have to type a little more, but A Course in Miracles will do it for our brothers and sisters that don't know what the world an ACIM OE is. And we're going to drop the OE because we'll be reading a little out of both manuscripts. And I'll let you know each time. But I'm so thankful for both publishers for making this available and for being such a good support for all us students. Holiness of healing, paragraph 2. As witness to forgiveness, aid to prayer, and the effect of mercy truly taught, healing is blessing. And the world responds in quickened chorus through the voice of prayer. Forgiveness shines its merciful reprieve upon each blade of grass and feathered wing and all the living things upon the earth. Fear has no haven here, for love has come in all its holy oneness. Time remains only to let the last embrace of prayer rest on the earth an instant as the world is shined away. This instant is the goal of all true healers, whom the Christ has taught to see his likeness and to teach like him. Paragraph 3. Think what it means to help the Christ to heal. Can anything be holier than this? God thanks his healers, for he knows the cause of healing is himself, his love, his Son, restored as his completion and returned to share with him creation's holy joy. Do not ask partial healing, nor accept an idol for remembrance of him whose love has never changed and never will. You are as dear to him as is the whole of his creation, for it lies in you as his eternal gift. What need have you for shifting dreams within a sorry world? Do not forget the gratitude of God. Do not forget the holy grace of prayer. Do not forget forgiveness of God's Son. Paragraph 4. You first forgive, then pray, and you are healed. You first forgive. Then pray, and you are healed. Your prayer has risen up and called to God, who hears and answers. You have understood that you forgive and pray but for yourself. And in this understanding, you are healed. In prayer, you have united with your source and understood that you have never left. This level cannot be attained until there is no hatred in your heart and no desire to attack the Son of God. Wow, can you say that yet? This level in prayer, you have united with your source, capital S, source is God, and understood that you have never left. You've never left God, even if you think you have. This level cannot be attained until there is no hatred, no anger, no vengeance, no hatred in your heart, and no desire, remember desire's a prayer, no desire to attack the Son of God. And who's the Son of God but all your brothers and sisters, which is really you. So this level cannot be attained until there is no hatred in your heart and no desire to attack the Son of God. Just kind of, we're going to get there, aren't we? Never forget this. Paragraph 5. Never forget this. It is you who are God's Son, and as you choose to be to Him, so are you to yourself, and God to you. Nor will your judgment fail to reach to God, for you will give the role to Him you see in His creation. Do not choose amiss, or you will think that it is you who are Creator in His place, and He is then no longer cause, but only an effect. Wow. Nor healing, now healing is impossible, for He is blamed for your deception and your guilt. He who is love becomes the source of fear, for only fear can now be justified. Vengeance is His. His great destroyer, death, and sickness, suffering, and grievous loss becomes the lot of everyone on earth, which He abandoned to the devil's care, swearing He will deliver it no more. God swearing that He will deliver care no more. Paragraph 6. Come unto me, my children, once again, without such twisted thoughts upon your hearts. Isn't that beautiful? Our Father saying that to His Holy Son. Come unto me, my children, once again, without such twisted thoughts upon your hearts. You still are holy with the holiness which fathered you in perfect sinlessness, and still surrounds you with the arms of peace. Dream now of healing. Dream now of healing. Then arise and lay all dreaming down forever. And how do you dream of healing? By practicing forgiveness. Desire to practice forgiveness because of what you see that it gives you. Peace of mind, happiness, joy, connection with each other, your brothers, God. You are your Father's love, who never left His home, now wandered in a savage world with feet that bleed and with a heavy heart made hard against the love that is the truth in you. Give all your dreams to Christ, and let Him be your guide to healing, leading you in prayer beyond the sorry reaches of the world. Paragraph 7. And hey, and I wanted to mention also that there's a lot of times that I actually make mistakes in some of the words. Hopefully you guys have caught me. You know, I'd encourage you to keep your book open as I read. Follow along. If I make a mistake, send me an email. My email's in the description below. Let me know how this helped you. Let me know mistakes that you think that I've made so that I can do better. My desire is not to change anything that's written, but to just make it come to light a little clearer. Paragraph 7, and that last sentence in paragraph 6, give all your dreams to Christ and let Him be your guide to healing, leading you in prayer beyond the sorry reaches of the world. He comes for me and speaks my word to you. I would recall my weary son to me from dreams of malice to the sweet embrace of everlasting love and perfect peace. My arms are open to the son I love, who does not understand that he is healed, and that his prayers have never ceased to sing his joyful thanks in unison with all creation in the holiness of love. Be still an instant. Underneath the sounds of harsh and bitter striving and defeat, there is a voice that speaks to you of me. That word voice, that was a capital V, speaking of God. Hear this an instant, and you will be healed. Hear God's voice an instant, and you have been saved. Paragraph 8. Help me to wake my children from the dream of retribution and a little life beset with fear that ends so soon it might as well have never been. Look at what he's saying to us now. Help me to wake my children. Children, help me to wake the rest of us from the dream of retribution and a little life beset with fear that ends so soon it might as well have never been. When you compare, a lifetime to your eternal lifetime, it's like a vapor that appears for a moment. Light a match, smoke comes out, and then it's gone. Let me instead remind you of eternity, in which your joy grows greater as your love extends along with mine beyond infinity, where time and distance have no meaning. While you wait in sorrow, heaven's melody is incomplete. While you wait in sorrow, heaven's melody is incomplete. Because your song is part of the eternal harmony of love. Without you is creation unfulfilled. Return to me who never left my son. Listen, my children, your father calls to you. Do not refuse to hear the call for love. Do not deny to Christ what is his own. Heaven is here and heaven is your home. Paragraph 9. Creation leans across the bars of time to lift the heavy burden from the world. Lift up your hearts to greet its advent. See the shadows fade away in gentleness. The thorns fall softly from the bleeding brow of him who is the Holy Son of God. How lovely are you, child of holiness. How lovely are you, child of holiness. How like to me. How lovingly I hold you in my heart and in my arms. How dear is every gift to me that you have made, who healed my son and took him from the cross. Arise and let my thanks be given you, and with my gratitude will come the gift first of forgiveness, then eternal peace. So now, in the last paragraph, so now return your holy voice to me. The song of prayer is silent without you. The universe is waiting your release because it is its own. Be kind to it and to yourself, and then be kind to me. I ask but this, that you be comforted and live no more in terror and in pain. Do not abandon love. Remember this, whatever you may think about yourself, whatever you may think about the world, your Father needs you and will call to you until you come to him in peace at last. Oh, what beautiful words that Jesus tells us. Let's read that last paragraph once again. So now return your holy voice to me, says Jesus. The song of prayer is silent without you. The universe is waiting your release because it is its own. Be kind to it and to yourself, and then be kind to me. I ask but this, that you be comforted and live no more in terror and in pain. Do not abandon love. Remember this, whatever you may think about yourself, whatever you may think about the world, your Father needs you, and you will call to you. Remember this. I ask but this. I'm going to back up. Sorry. I ask but this, that you be comforted and live no more in terror and in pain. Do not abandon love. Remember this. Whatever you may think about yourself, whatever you may think about the world, your Father needs you and will call to you until you come to Him in peace at last. Okay. And let's take just a moment. Let me tell you about another pine. I want to tell you about a pine nut. And this is not a pine nut, but this is a pine. I've always thought that someone should be growing edible nuts and fruits or plants and selling them or passing them on either way as Christmas trees. This is a Norfolk pine. And this one behind me here is an Alberta spruce, made nice little Christmas trees. This is a tropical, and it won't do good outside. This Alberta spruce, on the other hand, will do good, and it'll get planted outside. But this will end up being a house plant. But anyway, I always thought that was a nice idea to offer living trees that could get planted on our world that's being so quickly denuded of so much life. Okay, in the edible landscaping, I want to tell you about the Korean stone pine. Korean stone pine can start producing cones, pine nuts, when 5 feet tall. At 25 years, height should be 30 feet tall and 10 to 15 feet wide. It takes 2 different Korean pines to produce nuts, so be sure to plant 2, just like we learned yesterday on the what was it? The chestnut. Plant in full sun in zone 4 through 8. This 5-needle pine has silver, blue, and green colored needles at the same time. Silver ray, I guess that's another name for it, has year-round interest. A fairly compact, soft foliage evergreen. Space 15-foot circles. So for you that would like to get pine nuts and grow them in your own yard, let me encourage you to find a Korean stone pine and plant it. Plant 2 of them, or maybe 3 or 4, and give yourself 15 foot because they're going to be big. It says it'll start producing maybe as early as, what did it say? Can start producing cones when 5 feet tall. So, I don't know how many years that takes, 5 to 10 years I expect, but it says that in 25 years it's going to be 30 feet tall and making a lot of nuts. It's one of your bigger pine nuts. Okay, now, that was out of ediblelandscaping.com. You know what? We've read our final lesson every day. Should we read it one more time? It'll make our lesson a little long if we do. I wanted to sing a little longer today. But maybe we'll just have a longer lesson. Our final lessons will be left as free of words as possible. We use them but at the beginning of our practicing, and only to remind us that we seek to go beyond them. Let us turn to Him who leads the way and makes our footsteps sure. To Him we leave these lessons, as to Him we give our lives henceforth. For we would not return again to the belief in sin, which made the world seem ugly and unsafe, attacking and destroying, dangerous in all its ways, and treacherous beyond the hope of trust and the escape from pain. His is the only way to find the peace that God has given us. It is His way that everyone must travel in the end, because it is this ending God Himself appointed. In the dream of time it seems to be far off, and yet in truth it is already here, already serving us as gracious guidance and the way to go. Let us together follow in this way that truth points out to us, and let us be the leaders of our many brothers who are seeking for the way but find it not. And to this purpose let us dedicate our minds, directing all our thoughts to serve the function of salvation. Unto us the aim is given to forgive the world. It is the goal that God has given us. It is His ending to the dream we seek and not our own. For all that we forgive we will not fail to recognize as part of God Himself, and thus His memory is given back completely and complete. It is our function to remember him on earth as it is given us to be his own completion in reality. So let us not forget our goal is shared, for it is that remembrance which contains the memory of God and points the way to him and to the heaven of his peace. And shall we not forgive our brother who can offer this to us? He is the way, the truth, and life that show the way to us. In him resides salvation offered us through our forgiveness given unto him. We will not end this year without the gift our Father promised to his Holy Son. We are forgiven now, and we are saved from all the wrath we thought belonged to God and found it was a dream. We are restored to sanity, in which we understand that anger is insane, attack is mad, and vengeance merely foolish fantasy. We have been saved from wrath because we learned we were mistaken, nothing more than that. And is a father angry at his son because he failed to understand the truth? We come in honesty to him and say that we did not understand, and ask him to help us learn his lessons through the voice of his own teacher. Would he hurt his son? Or would he rush to answer him and say, "This is my prodigal son"? Or no, he doesn't. I added the word prodigal because that's what I'm seeing in the picture. Remember the prodigal son story? And he rushes to answer him and say, "This is my son, and all I have is his." Be certain he will answer thus, for these are his own words to you, and more than that can no one ever have. For in these words is all there is and all there will be throughout all time and in eternity. Wow. This holy instant would I give to you, be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. And if I need a word to help me, he will give it to me. And if I need a thought, that will he also give. And if I need but stillness and a tranquil open mind, these are the gifts I will receive of him. He is in charge by my request, and he will hear and answer me because he speaks for God my Father and his Holy Son. Thank you all so much for joining me this year. Be sure to take your time of quiet and your hourly remembrance. And take this lesson and let it be. Remember, no more lessons are assigned. So we'll talk about what to do if you're a second-year student next year, tomorrow. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you. Certain that your direction gives me peace. Certain that your direction gives me peace. And if I need a word to help me, he will give it to me. If I need a thought, that will he also give. And if I need but stillness and a tranquil open mind, these are the gifts I will receive of him. And he is in charge by my request, and he will hear and answer me because he speaks for God my Father and his Holy Son and his Holy Son. Peace.